I'm your host, Gary Smith, and as always, we're joined by head football coach Gary Dunn. And Coach, welcome. It's 2 days before summer is officially over.
Flying by, right?
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It feels like we just got here yesterday. We're on to week 4 of the season already.
And I think if you go back to all of our shows and the history about this show, we have the same intro because, like I said, it's the same weeks every year, and then the seasons change every year. But one thing that does change every year is the schedule. And this past week, Cal U was on the road for the second straight week in Shepherdtown, West Virginia. And a little bit of a history note: 160 years ago on Saturday was the anniversary of the Battle of Antietam. So this past Saturday, about a mile away from that battle, and two great armies from the North and South met once again at Shepherd, and that was just an amazing college football game.
Yeah, it was obviously disappointed with the outcome. Was extremely proud of the way our guys battled, fought, and competed all day. I thought we showed, and talked to the team yesterday, great growth and great improvement from week 2 to week 3. But there's no moral victories at Cal, that's for sure. Disappointed that we didn't, that we ran out of time and didn't finish away to end that game there in the fourth quarter.
Well, if we go back through the game, first of all, it was another gorgeous Saturday afternoon on the road. Hopefully this Saturday at home we get similar weather, but a packed house both home and away. It was just a great atmosphere for college football. But the way the game started, Shepherd came out ranked in the top 5 in the country, and they got out to a 13-0 lead. But I tell you what, there was a point in the second quarter they were going in for what could have been either a 16-point lead or a 20-point lead. Your defense stepped up, and then your offense scored right away, and it flipped the script.
Yeah, that was a big drive. I thought we had some opportunities early offensively. The first drive, we picked up a couple first downs, and unfortunately right now offensively, we're shooting ourselves in the foot in opportune times. We had a 3rd and 4 there at about midfield and had an opportunity to keep the drive alive and going, and we don't convert on that 3rd down on a mistake on our own. But really proud of the way the defense battled. Defense kind of kept us in there. We talked to our guys about that. Listen, it's not always going to be perfect. Sometimes the offense is going to have to pick up the defense. Sometimes the defense is going to have to pick up the offense. We call weather in the storm. If things aren't going well, we've got to focus on the next play and the next possession and do our job. And the defense really battled there, kept us in the ball game. We get the big score. Now it's 13-7. We kick off and we get a turnover. So now we're sitting in the red zone with a chance to either take the lead if we score a touchdown and we fumble a snap. So we end up missing a field goal on that drive. But I really thought that settled our guys in to know it was going to be a fourth quarter battle and go the rest of the way, and that's what it was.
Oh, and despite that fumbled snap, that got the field position into a good position. And then the next possession, Shepherd was trying to drive. Your defense came with a big sack around midfield, and then you ended up going in and kicking a field goal right at the end of the first half. Yeah,
2 weeks in a row, we get the field goal right before the half. Like I said, the defense battled all day and competed. We gave up some yards, we gave up some plays, but man, did they played with great effort. I thought we improved on the defensive side of the ball. I think some of the things we screwed up in week 2 were coverage mistakes on our part that I think we fixed. And did a much better job. But yeah, we get the ball back. It's kind of that, 2 weeks in a row. Do we go for it and try and get? We were pinned pretty deep and we got a nice play, and that gave us a little cushion to go. All right, let's go and try and get points on the board. So we kicked the field goal, and at the half, I think it's 13-10.
Yeah, it's an entirely different game, and going into the halftime, only down 3, and I believe you got the kick to start the second half, and couple more drives and another touchdown, and you guys are ahead.
Yeah, so the offense came along, which we knew we would. The defense kind of kept us in early. We started moving the ball really effectively in big chunk plays and run, and we were doing pretty much what we wanted to do, and ended up taking the lead there. I guess it was the 3rd quarter on a pass to Jaquay Jackson. So now we're in the lead. We get another, defense gets another stop. We get a possession where it's 4th and 1. We're up 7. Do I want to go for it? I said, let's kick the field goal here and go up 2 possessions in the fourth quarter. And, I think that was the right decision to go up 2 possessions. Would have loved to have went for it there and put it in. But again, offensively, it's mistakes small mistakes at key times. We got to focus on the details. We got to focus on the next play, because some of those drives where we're stalling out and need to be converted into touchdowns. We knew they had a great offense. We needed to convert touchdowns, and that was really the difference in the day.
And also having a reliable kicker like Anthony Biko, you knew he's probably going to convert that 9 times out of 10. And the other thing we were talking about let's say you go for get the first down, but there's a holding penalty, and then it backs you up 10 yards, it might put you on the edge of field goal range. So going up 10 points at that time of the game is great, and especially the way your defense, the whole week all we heard about was their quarterback, being returning Harlan Hill, something with an H, Harlan Hill Trophy Award winner. But your defense had him on the run all day.
Yeah, obviously credit to Shepherd. They made plays when they had to, and unfortunately we didn't. But yeah, I was, again, super pleased with the defense and the effort. We had a couple opportunities on big downs to get him down on sacks, and the kid made a play, so you got to give him credit. I hope that we'll grow from that and learn from that and use a little better technique and be a little bit better with our eyes, and that next time we're in that situation that we can get that guy on the ground. I think there was a big 4th down conversion. There was a big 3rd and 17 conversion. Either one of those plays, we get a stop, and we're sitting here celebrating a win. But you got to give Shepherd credit. You got to give their offensive staff and really their entire coaching staff credit. They made plays when they needed to at the end of the game.
And it really was a 60-minute game because the game-tying field goal was kicked with 4.7 seconds. Kind of a weird situation. There was a penalty on the offense and a 10-second runoff, and not sure if the officials really explained it to the crowd 100%. But
yeah, anytime you get an offensive penalty and you don't have any timeouts, that's a way that offenses in the past could go ahead and try and stop the clock by committing a penalty. So they do a 10-second runoff, which I think left 4.6 seconds left. There was some explanation that took a little bit longer than it probably needed to, and then to get the clock reset really gave them time to get their operation done. But that's what happens in college football. I had an opportunity there to call a timeout, but I felt like it's 4.6 seconds. As soon as the whistle blows, they're going to snap it and let's go rush. I wanted to rush them a little bit rather than try and freeze them. And the kid made a big kick. So now we're going to overtime.
And your team won the coin toss in overtime. Elected to go on defense They won the toss.
Yes.
And then you elected to play in the other end and had the ball first.
Yeah, first down, we've got a little route dialed up, and we kind of get caught up on a jam there. Noah does a great job alluding to his left, and we've got a wide open guy at the 2-yard line. One official calls him in, one official calls him out. I couldn't tell on video whether the video that we have, maybe your crew had a better shot than we did. But so now we're at 2nd and 10. We run a quarterback draw, kind of get stopped up. 3rd and 10, Noah does a great job of scrambling. We complete the pass to Jaquay. We're 2 yards short. So at that point, in my mind, in overtime, you got to try and put points on the board because now they at least have to know they got to get a field goal if you make that field goal. We have great confidence in Anthony Bico and just having to miss one. He hasn't missed many in his career, and that kind of thing happens. So, now we got to go play defense, and they were able to kick a field goal and get us there in overtime.
And an exhausting game, came up a little short, 26-23, but a couple highlight plays and milestones. Noah Mitchell, it seems like every week we're saying he passed a milestone on the first touchdown of the game, long touchdown pass, became the school's all-time leading passer in yardage, and also has the touchdown record from a few weeks ago, and that keeps adding. But just another great laurel in his cap for a great career.
I mean, he deserves everything he gets. He's worked extremely hard. He's put the time in not only in the weight room and conditioning, but studying film. He's had a heck of a career. But I'll tell you, he'd rather change that record for one more completion in that game. But congratulations to him and all the receivers and guys that he's played with.
And Jaquay Jackson tied a long-standing Caillou record, a record that goes back to 68 with receptions in a game, and something we didn't know till me and Matt Keifer were talking about later because a couple of the receptions at Shepherd were credited to Israel Xavier, who was not on the
number.
So, but another great.
Jaquay had a great day, and he's starting to see some double teams now. So we've got to do some things offensively to free him up a little bit, and we have to have other guys step up, and we have. We've got some young receivers, some new guys to our program that are tracking the right way. Malik Langley's had a couple good weeks. Eric Willis, the freshman, has had a couple good weeks. Cam Terrence, as solid as they come and does a great job for us. So, we got to continue to have guys step up because when they want to double Jaquay, we've got to have an option to go to. And I think he tied Pete Gallamis's record. Pete's one of our alumni. I'm sure Pete will be at the home game this week, and he'll explain to me everything that I did wrong after the game when I stop out and see our alumni at the tailgate.
Well, that's this weekend's opponent. We're going to talk about that after the break. Let's take a look back at the highlights from this past weekend's action at Shepherd.
In motion. Pageant gets the snap, looking quickly to the right-hand side. That one, easy completion for a touchdown, able to find Marlon Cook for the score. Mitchell in the shotgun gets the snap, looking to his right, firing it deep to Jackson. He has Jackson wide open. Jackson makes the catch. Jackson to the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Jaquade Jackson. Not only is that the touchdown, that's the record for Noah Mitchell, all-time passing record for the Vulcans, able to find the end zone finally. That one's going to get taken inside the own end zone from Brown. Brown working his way up the field. Fumbles the ball. Brown loses the football, and that one looks like all the Vulcans signaling they have it. Pageant with the snap rolling to his left, trying to escape the pressure. It isn't going to do so. Snap is up. The kick is on its way. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Mitchell gets the snap, hands it off, or fakes the handoff to McGriff, wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, Jaquade Jackson. Badgett gets the snap. Vulcans send the pressure, and Badgett able to escape, but not for very long as he's running back into a couple of Vulcans players, rolling all the way now to his right-hand side, and fumbled the ball, and the Vulcans are going to recover. Pico sets up. His kick is up, and his kick is good. Vulcans now 23 unanswered points. Fakes the quick pass, going deep towards the back of the end zone. That one is caught for the touchdown in the back. The kick is up, the kick is on its way, and the kick is good. Pico, his kick is up, and his kick is no good. Jacob Haney for the win. His kick is up, and his kick is good.
More attractions. More fear. Survive the clowns in Twisted Nightmare 3D. Experience more scares than ever before. Haunted Hills Estate Scream Park returns September 9th. Get your tickets now at hauntedhillsestate.com.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. Once again, I'm Gary Smith, joined as always by Coach Dunn. And Coach, as I said at the top of the show, the calendar keeps on moving, and put this past Saturday in the rearview mirror and open up your planner to this week. And it's the first game of PSAC divisional play, and we have the Edinboro Fighting Scots.
Yeah, excited to get into the West. I think our guys are looking for it. Edinboro is currently 2-1, playing really good football, playing really good defense. I worked with their defensive coordinator at the last school I was at. He does a tremendous job. They play, and I told the guys yesterday in a team meeting, they probably play as hard as anybody we're going to play against. They are tenacious. They run around. They fly around. They're opportunistic on defense. They create a lot of turnovers. So defensively, it's going to be a battle. Offensively, they've struggled a little bit, but they've played some really good defenses. They have capable people. They have nice skill guys, good linemen, big strong quarterback. So it's going to be a battle. And I know Edinboro is going to come in. I got a lot of respect for their coaches and how they kind of the culture change that they've had up there in the last 2 years. It's going to be a tough battle at Adamson Stadium.
I know I watched a little bit of their film or their games from the PSAC Network, and it's hard to believe that it's the same team 2 years in a row. They've taken a lot of strides. But I know you've watched a lot of film so far. Let's break down offensive, defense first. Offensively, what do they do? Yeah,
they're balanced. They're very similar to us. They want to be a balanced offense. They're probably throwing it a little more right now and having more success throwing the football than they are running. I believe they're averaging 250 yards or 260 yards a game throwing the ball. Offensively, running the ball, they're rated around 50 or 60. Now, some of that dictates situations. They got behind big at Shepherd and threw it a bunch. So, but they're a balanced offense. They've got a couple really nice, skilled wide receivers that if we don't stay on top of our game and play our leverages and use our eyes, they can hurt you in a moment. And they've got a good tailback, and I expect they're going to try and get the run game going a little bit this week.
And on the other side of the ball, you kind of alluded to it a little bit. They're getting after teams, but what kind of schemes do they run, and what do they do good? Yeah,
really multiple. I think they're solid across the board, but they've got a good blitz package. They'll play. They're a base 4-down team. They'll play 2 high safeties. They'll roll to 1 high. They'll play man coverage. They'll go to a nickel front and play a 3-down package where they're going to walk a lot of guys up and try and create confusion and bring zone pressures. Really do a nice job of changing up their schemes. So when you're preparing, you really got to prepare against 2 different defenses, whether it's their 4-down front or their 3-down front. But they got nice people doing it. They got some real good skill guys on the back end. Their inside linebackers are active and can blitz and can cover. So they're probably I think they're giving up, I want to say 16 points a game, and one of those was a little bit lopsided. I think their 2 wins, they won in overtime this week. I think gave up 16 points in the first game. I think they won 10-8 or something like that. So, they're not giving up a lot of points, and they're creating a lot of turnovers. So we got to make sure that we take care of the football and we play fundamentally sound football on offense.
And for all the English teachers out there, I should have phrased that question, what do they do well, not what do they do good. So my apologies to every English teacher I had.
I tell you what, you give me a history lesson a little bit earlier, now an English lesson. If we can break out some math here, we'll be in good shape.
We're going to start talking about some regional planning because me, Coach, and I both have regional planning degrees. We can solve some problems. But the problem we want to solve this weekend is getting Adamson Stadium filled on Saturday at noon. It's great to finally be back home. I know I can't imagine what it's like because I know we've taken the trip, but we're on a little different schedule, and you have to keep track of about 100 people. So it's got to be great just to know that you're going to be in the friendly confines on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely excited to be at home. I think we've got Hall of Fame weekend on campus. We've got a great group of people being inducted into our Hall of Fame, so we're excited about that. We've got a family tailgate, really for the students and their families. I know our alumni will show up, and man, are our parents traveling well. It was impressive on Saturday to see them. That gives our guys a little extra incentive. So, expecting a big crowd at Adamson Stadium. 12 o'clock kick. We haven't had many 12 o'clock kicks here in the past few years, but excited to get it kicked off.
I love the 12 o'clock kick, and also it's the first Saturday home game we've had because the first game of the regular season was Fairmont State on Thursday. So coming out this Saturday, Cal U versus the Edinburgh Fighting Scots. If you can't be there and you have a doctor's note, you can follow along with CUTV on CUTV Sports 1 and the PSAC network. We're at home this week, so our nemesis Verizon shouldn't affect us as it has the last 2 weeks on the road. But quickly before we wrap up the show, we're going to look back just real quickly at last week's results in the PSAC. I see Kyle Shepherd. We talked about that ad nauseum. A lot of good games this past weekend. Westchester 29, Gannon 23. Bloomsburg losing to Edinburgh 23-20. Kutztown in a game that they were trailing big against Mansell and ended up putting up 50. They went 50-31. Stroudsburg over Seton Hill 22-7. Slippery Rock 45, Millersville 14, IUP 44, Ship 21, and Clarion 44, and Lock Haven 7. And Coach, we're going to look quickly at the upcoming schedule for this week. So we said first weekend of divisional play. Calborough we've talked about, Gannon Clarion, Mercehurst and IUP, and Seton Hill and Slippery Rock out in this side of the state. And over on the east side of the state, Millersville versus Westchester, Shepherd versus Kutztown, Lock Haven versus East Stroudsburg, and Shippensburg versus Bloom. And I always ask you which game is probably a good game, and I'm going to guess that if you're a football fan, the game you're going to guess, other than the Cal U game, is probably Shepherd and Kutztown.
Shepherd and Kutztown. Well, obviously the 2 teams we just played most recently, really good football teams, really well coached. That'll be a good one. And then the Edinburgh or on the west side, other than our game, the IUP at Mercyhurst. Mercyhurst playing really good football right now. Got a new coach. Got those guys believing and playing really hard. They're scoring some points and doing a nice job. So those would be the 2 other than the Cal Edinburgh game I'd take a look at.
And real quickly, we're going to look at the standings on the East and West. Not that there's a lot to look at because divisional play hasn't started yet, but 2 notes. There's only 2 teams that have not yet won a game in the PSAC, so that just speaks to the depth of the conference as a whole.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing too, 0-0, so every everything's still ahead of you and your team.
Yes, and our guys are excited to get into PSAC West play. But really, it's about us. We got to take care of ourselves in the last 2 weeks and give the other teams credit because they've made plays when they needed to. But I felt like we left a lot out there. I felt like there was opportunities for us to win both of those games in the fourth quarter. And to be a good football team, we got to do that. And I see great signs on our guys, man. We had a great practice last night. I expect nothing less today. We're going to get back to work and try and focus on the little things.
So coming out this Saturday, the weather as of Tuesday when we shoot the show looks pretty good for a Saturday at Adamson Stadium. Come out, tailgate early, stay late, and cheer on the Vulcans. For Coach Gary Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you at the stadium on Saturday at noon, and we'll see you next week on The Gary Dunn Show.